Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going over the monk trees tonight for a little bit. Uh, Alex will be leading the way on this as he's very experienced in Windwalker Monk and probably has more experience in Brewmaster than I do as well. So we will go ahead and get started. As you can see, we've got our monk trees up here. We're going to start with just the overall monk tree. So Alex, go ahead and take it away, sir, if you're ready.
I am ready. So start out with just the monk basic tree. You can see that there's one for each back. You have to choose the master sun kick. And tires less when tires less starts the brewmaster. You have to start with that one. Um, I'm actually kind of surprised to see rising sun kick baseline because that ability hits quite hard. To have a brewmaster get it too is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that'll be a nice ability to have.
Yeah. So I think dungeon wise, you definitely want to get paralysis because it's always useful. That's the second row. And calming presence for the damage taken reduced, that's just a no-brainer.
Right, yeah, especially as a tank.
Yeah. Some more utility stuff, if you go down another row, is disable. That's also nice in no matter what you're doing.
Yep, yeah, that'll
Pro
be. I feel like that's gonna be probably more for PvP because I don't use a lot of stuff like that for like Mythic Plus and stuff. Um, because most of the time, if you're gonna do anything in Mythic Plus to slow people down, it's gonna be like AOE slows. Now there are certain situations like Gambit, definitely Gambit slowing down the Murlocs. Good to have that.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely some niche times you can use it for sure. Um, like going on, it's just kind of preference. There's a lot of different stuff you can get. Um, I would put a point to Rising Sun Kick just because you need the points. There's not a lot of stuff else you can get that's really good for tanking. So
All
having that
right.
extra damage is nice.
All right, so far we've got for if you're going for tank, you've got Tiger's Lust, Rising Sun Kick, Calming Presence, and Paralysis, and then
Yeah, I'd I'd probably get the reduced cooldown paralysis because not a whole lot of else you can get. It's really good,
right.
and we still need 4 points. And I don't know how I feel about this, but what do you think that Vivify increase the healing Vivify by 40%?
Um, I mean, how
Because
often do Brewmaster tanks use Vivify? Because I
I
don't
would
know.
say I would say probably never. But if you look one below Vivify, the Vivify is now an instant
Oh,
cast.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like could you
That
increase Vivify
that.
healing up to
Uh,
80% and then
so,
make it instant?
all right, so right there alone, that for me actually makes me much more willing to try out Brewmaster Tank because that's always been my issue with Brewmaster Tank. And granted, I haven't played it since BFA. Back in BFA, when I was trying it, you have no self healing, and I was like, I don't like not having any ability to heal myself. So having that could be nice. I like that.
Yeah.
So
Um.
what? Put two talents into Vivify and increase that up to
Yeah.
40%, and then one in the.
Well, I don't know what the Juta is supposed to say because if 1 point is 40%, I don't know if 2 points is meant to be 80%. I don't know.
Yeah, no, the tooltip's not changing,
So
but
if it's 80%, it seems a little high, but we'll see.
I mean it's possible. But either way,
Yeah, it definitely.
either way you got to put both points in to unlock the vivacious vivification. And then
Yeah.
we need one more
Then
point still.
I'd probably put that 1 point into detox
All right.
to get poison
So not
residuals.
gonna worry about ferocity of Zuin.
Oh, which was that?
It
Which?
increases all damage dealt by
Oh,
2%.
yeah. Well, we can't get that unless we do a detox or disable.
Right, right. So you're
So
thinking
I put that 8 points
detox.
in. I put probably into
Yeah,
detox. Yeah.
yeah. Detox is good for a tank.
Yeah. Um. Right away, if you're looking at tanking, you definitely want Fortifying Brew.
Fortifying
Um,
brew. All right.
It's 6 minute cooldown. On live is 3, but if you look below, the town reduces it by 2 minutes. So now it's 4. I don't know, it's kind of long defensive for how weak it is, but I mean it's something.
All right. Yeah, no, that's. I mean, defensives are definitely a must-have. I think it's one of the things that I'm liking, especially just from when we looked at the Havoc talent tree. Having a lot of the cooldowns that normally are spec specific, having those in the general tree is really nice because it gives you a lot of extra cooldowns. So
Yeah,
yeah, no, I think it's never a bad thing, especially as a tank, to have more defensive cooldowns.
yeah. So it's I don't know which tank you want you to go with, but you can kind of help me out here. Because if you get Fortifying Brew, right below you have to choose between Fortifying Brew, or they both name the same thing right now actually. But one increases the stagger effectiveness by 15%, or you get the one that reduces the cooldown.
So to me, from a Mythic Plus standpoint, I would think reducing the cooldown, especially if there's anything else that helps that cooldown get reduced. But also, let me see. So, Fortifying Brew turns your skin to stone for 15 seconds, increasing your current and maximum health by 15%. And then it increases the effectiveness of Stagger by 10% and reduces all damage you take by 15%. Um, so
So
it
it's either you
increases
have
your
a six,
dodge and
you have a
armor by 25%. So the armor's
yeah,
nice, but it's a 6 minute cooldown. In Mythic Plus, I feel like you're going to want to reduce that cooldown.
yeah,
Um, However, I don't know what other cool defensives they have. So if you've got a bunch of other defensive options and you really are only going to need to use Fortifying Brew in case of emergency, then you could go with the increased dodge and armor if you think you're only going to use it when, say, you're sitting there and you're like, oh no, I'm about to die, and you pop it just as an emergency situation. I could see then having it be more effective would be better. But
yeah.
again, that's where my lack of knowledge in Brewmaster is. I don't know what kind of defensive cooldowns we've got. Actually, let me look on mine and just kind of see here.
Yeah,
And you can help me out because
kind of. I'll bring up some stuff as you're looking it up. Um,
So Zen Meditation reduces all damage, but that's 5 minute cooldown. Um, let's see. Transcendence doesn't really. Yeah, see, I don't know what the defensives are. So for Brewmaster, what kind of defensive cooldowns do you have as far as Brewmaster goes?
I'll put my Brewmaster spec real quick. I know you get like some short cooldowns you can use like Celestial Brew, which gives you like a 20k absorption shield, and Purify Stagger, increasing absorptions by 200%.
Okay.
You have your Ox statue, you can like taunt and it'll attack that and stuff, pretty sure. You have Fortifying Brew, got Zen Meditation. Um, you have Expel Harm, that's just like that small heal, but it's only 5 second cooldown. But if we're going back to the tree, a lot of stuff for tanking to the right hand of this tree, as you can tell.
Right. Yes.
But there are some very important talents in the middle that are really good for tanking. Well, it'll be good for all three, but they add a lot of defensives for the Brewmaster. So instead of going farther down after Fortifying Brew, we're just gonna go back and get Transcendence. So you have that port.
All right. So we're not gonna choose one yet on those, or are we gonna probably just go with the 2 minute cooldown?
I went to 2 minute for now because I
All right.
think you're right. I think you want it to be up more often.
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
Where we left off was Transcendence getting that port.
All right.
Because it leads to the what some stuff you really need. One of them being provoke. It just makes it so when you provoke someone, they're walking at 50% increased speed. What do you think
Yep.
about that?
Yeah. No. That's So as a tank, that movement speed increase is actually strong.
Yeah,
Because I know that I constantly, and Mythic Plus, whenever we're tanking or something, and say a mob, does like a leap over to somebody and then it's coming back to me, or say we need to reposition, I will taunt them just to get that movement speed burst. Because demon hunters have the same thing where when you provoke
Oh,
them,
okay.
they get an increased movement speed, and I taunt them just so they move faster and get over to me faster.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that definitely is a good thing to get as a tank.
I think you
Now,
want a ring of peace as well.
could you go? Can you do without that provoke? Sure, but I don't.
Yeah.
I think if we have the talent point to spare, it's a great option. And yes,
Yeah.
Ring of Peace is a must. I feel like for any, no matter what spec you're playing for Monk, I feel like Ring of Peace is a must have.
Yeah. Um, to the right is ring of peace. You got fast feet. Right it says kick damage increased by 70%. And spinning cranky deals 10% additional damage. That rising sun kick already hits very hard. Now, increasing that just for Brewmaster adds even more damage. Um, right. So I mean, this is the class tree, so it affects all three specs. But we're talking tanking right now mostly. But um, for Windwalker, it's going to be insane. I don't know if it's capped at 70% or it means go to 140%. I don't know, but it's very welcome this talent for both Windwalker and tanking. I'm sure.
Right. Yes. I now are any of the others along this road anything we would want to get? The Celerity or Chi Torpedo,
I think if we have the points, we'll definitely go into it.
and
I think it'd
then
be nice to have a kick because it needs spread strike, right?
oh yes, yeah. No, I feel yeah. Spearhand Strike is a must. Yeah, you
Yeah.
must get Spearhand Strike.
All right, we'll go back. Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say so. I could see for Mythic Plus having the reduced cooldown on roll and the increased number of charges. That's could be really good for just movement speed in Mythic Plus.
Yeah.
But I don't think that like necessarily in raid or and in PvP it probably is really strong too. But I feel
Yeah.
like in raid I don't think you necessarily have to have that. Um, but I think it's kind of a quality of life thing. Obviously, for speedrunning, yes, it'd be great. For Mythic Plus, I think it'd be good to have that. What about Chi Wave or Chi Burst? Either one of those, something you'd want to grab as a tank?
Um, Chi burst actually might be kind of nice. That's just AoE damage that's uncapped, right? That just means more damage, more threat for a tank. Windwalker probably Chi burst, and PvP Windwalker probably run Chi wave. Just because Chi burst will break CC, and it doesn't heal that much. I don't know how strong Chi wave is right now either, but I don't. I see Chi burst for PvE and Chi wave for PvP.
All right.
If we go down rows where you get some defenses, like I talked about, you get diffuse magic. That works for every spec. And we're talking Brewmaster. It's a magic wall
All right. Yep.
on a minute and a half cooldown. Very nice.
Now, question on this tooltip: it says requires Monk, Windwalker, or Mistweaver.
Oh,
I now I'm just curious if that is actually
Visiment. Okay,
if that's
I
just
didn't
because.
realize that.
So my question is that tooltip just old? Like, is that an old tooltip for like what diffuse magic currently works, or is that something that is because it's in the class tree? Is it going to work for everybody?
I'm not sure.
Because I
I
feel
know
like
Brewmasters right now do not have it.
yeah. Well, and so if you go back and look at Vivify, the Vivify talent
Yeah,
says it requires Brewmaster or Windwalker. So like Mistweavers couldn't get that, which doesn't make sense because that seems very much
I
like a healing
it's definitely
talent.
healing for Mischievous. The issue I think they're making a wise Brewmaster Windwalker is because 40% or 80%, whatever it's meant to be, is maybe too much for a healer. But they could still spec into the instant vivify.
Right.
Um, yeah, I'm wondering if they'll change that, but maybe the vivify is just too strong to buff for a healer right now, which
Yeah.
is kind of odd to put it so close to the soothing mystery.
Yeah, I feel like those tooltips maybe are not accurate, or like I said, until we actually can get into alpha and beta ourselves and look at that, we won't really know the answer to that. Is that really limited
Yeah,
to what it's showing, or is it anybody? Because I f- I feel like if it is limited to, so like let's say Vivify is limited to Brewmaster or Windwalker, why is it in the general monk tree? Why wouldn't it
yeah,
just be in the Brewmaster and Windwalker tree?
yeah,
That's kind of my question there. It doesn't make sense if it's in the general monk tree, it should be available for any spec of monk.
yeah. I'm gonna take a point out of diffuse magic for now. Something new I think Brewmaster's getting is dampen harm. Um, you see it?
Yes. Yep. Reduces all damage
Um,
take by 20%. And that's a nice little 2 minute cooldown.
twenty
Um,
percent to 50% for
yeah,
10
for 10
seconds.
seconds. Yeah, so
Luck
that's a
attack can
nice.
reduce more.
Yeah, so having that available, I still say Fortifying Brew reducing the cooldown to 4 minutes for Mythic Plus makes more sense just to have it available more
Yeah,
readily. Um,
yeah,
but I think if, say, certain raid mechanics, when there's going to be a big, heavy hit during a certain phase, or there's a spot where there's going to be a ton of tank damage during a specific part of the phase, having the buffed version of it would be better to be able to use. Um, so yeah, I think that one is going to depend on what content you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also just reading this. If you look under the Fortifying Brew talent, the Expel Harm,
Hmm.
that's a little heal. I just read the Brewmaster. It says draws the positive key of all your healing spheres to increase the healing of Expel Harm. So
Right.
it's
Yes.
kind of like the Soul Render or whatever for Vengeance Demon Hunter when you use what's that ability called? It's called Soul Render.
Spirit
Brings
Bomb.
in like I'm talking like the ability to use and like it sucks in all like the souls.
Yeah, Spirit Bomb. That's Spirit Bomb is what does that. When you have so in Vengeance DH, if you have 5 soul fragments out, well, you have a maximum of 5 up, and then Spirit Bomb will uh, take it'll do damage to everything around you based off the number of soul fragments, but also it'll pull all those fragments in, and you get healed for like 8% of the damage that you took in the last 5 seconds for each one of those soul fragments. So potentially you'll basically heal yourself for, if you have all 5, you'll get healed for 40% of the damage that you took in the last 5 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, I see Expel Harm being a good heal for tanks then.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just to move on point wise, I'd probably put in Touch of Death. I don't know if it's baseline or if you have to spec
Right.
into it now. Because now it says it can be used on targets less than 15% health remaining. I don't know if it's like it's a spell. This is put in the tree. I don't know.
Mm,
But I'd put it in Touch of Death just to move on.
yeah. So I feel like so what other one did you have on there? Because I'm only at 19.
I'm at 17 right now.
Which did you? Oh, you're at 17. Okay. So we've
I took
got
out Diffuse
one.
Magic.
Yeah, so we got one Rising Sun Kick, Calming Presence, Paralysis, both Vivifies, and Vivacious Vivification. We've got
Yeah.
Detox, we've got Paralysis, then we've got
Yep.
Transcendence, we've got Spear
Yep.
Hand Strike, Fortifying Brew, the 2 minute cooldown reduction for Fortifying Brew. We've got both of Fast Feet,
Okay,
Ring
I'm
of.
at 19 now.
Okay, that was where you had. All right, yeah, we got Ring of Peace, Provoke, and then Dampen Harm, Touch of Death, and Expel Harm.
It puts it at 19. We need 20. I think you're right. I think we put it in the either Clarity or Chi Torpedo.
Well, so my question is, would you go ahead and use that diffuse? So if diffuse magic um, works for Brewmaster, I think you definitely would take diffuse magic.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So I say for right now, we'll go ahead and put a point in there because
Okay.
we don't really know how that works just yet.
Yeah. Um, on to the next row. We only have 3 days to pick because it didn't work into the left tree.
All right,
And we have 11
move
points
your
to
mic a little
spend.
bit closer.
We have
There you go.
11 points to spend. That better?
Yes, much better.
Okay. Yeah, we did 11 points. We have a lot leftover points than I thought, but we're gonna go right into Escape from Reality. I think that's really strong. If you need to kite some ads and you teleport back, You're vivifying yourself, healing increased by 70%, and 50% of its cost is refunded. And if you have instant vivifies, that's a lot of healing.
Yep, I like that.
I would go into Fatal Touch next,
Yep, I
because
agree.
touch of Death on a 1 minute cooldown is really nice. I don't see getting Generous Pour being that good. It's
Yeah,
allies within 10 yards, 2% avoidance, so it means 4% avoidance, but that's be within 10 yards.
yeah,
I don't,
I agree.
I don't
I
really
don't
see
think
it.
I don't think that one's necessarily worth it.
I would go into Bounce Back and then get some of the Black Ox statue, which is the Brewmaster one.
All right.
That leaves us with 4 points. Um, Eye of the Tiger, some passive damage is next to Diffuse.
Yep. So I'm thinking what 2 in Resonant Fist, which it doesn't say what that does, and but then to get your Summon White Tiger statue.
Well, yeah, I mean you could actually get that. I don't know how many statues you can have at once. Like have down at once. I'm sure you can get both of them. I just don't know how you put them both down together. Is my question.
Right. So maybe we don't get that yet then.
Um,
So we got 4 points
yeah,
that we can still spend. So what would we want to spend that on? Probably maybe Ferocity of Zuin to get 4% increased damage.
yeah. I'm still thinking like I know some of the Black Ox statues a 10-second cooldown, so you can put it wherever. But if you can get both down, I think some of the White Tiger statue would be really good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if we're
That's
able to
right.
get both.
It would
So
damage.
so do you want to
So
go
I
under
will
the
just say,
assumption we can do both then?
yeah, I'll do that. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
That leaves us with
One talent
1 point, and I put that in Ferocity of Zone.
All right. All
Now,
right. Yep.
the Windwalker would look pretty similar, to be honest, except for instead of getting um bounce back and black statue, you go into white tiger statue and eye the tiger and more into ferocity was doing and disable for sure, and probably clarity for the roll. But a lot of it's the same, but definitely some other builds you can mess around with depending on what you're doing PvP, PvE for sure.
Yeah, I think also if you're gonna be Windwalker, um, you're like you said, definitely using Eye of the Tiger. You're going to use both points in Ferocity of Zuin.
Yeah.
Um, let me see. Yeah, I don't think I see anything else that I would really change.
One thing I might try and get if I was playing Windwalker is I put points in the Soothing Mist to get a roll. Like it's another charge of roll.
Right.
So you get have 4 charges of roll, if that's correct, because there's a talent
I'm gonna
clarity increases
say
the
I'm
roll.
gonna guess no. I'm gonna guess that what roll works like from what we saw with the Demon Hunter ones. I'm gonna guess you because roll starts out with just one charge, right? Like
Two,
when you
two.
no when you very first start out, it's just one, isn't it?
No, it's two.
Okay, so yeah, it depends on how they're gonna do their baseline then. Um, because like with Demon Hunter, you start out with one Fell Rush, and they've got a talent to give you the second charge for
Well,
Fell
maybe
Rush.
then. I haven't leveled a monk in
So
forever. It's possible.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if this is like the upgraded version of roll, so you get 2 charges because you also have celerity, which gives you the reduced cooldown and another charge. Because that's where monks usually are at right now. Is usually you've got 3 charges and it's the reduced cooldown, right? Like I feel like
Yeah.
that's typically where you're at. So that I think is the ultimate goal. Now, if you're correct and it's going to give us 4 total charges, excellent. That'd be great.
Yeah. So I mean that's it for the class tree. You can move on to Brewmaster and see
All
what
right.
they get. Um, we'll start off with just the first ability, Cake Smash. You have to get it, obviously.
Yep.
Same with Stagger.
Mm-hmm.
Cake Smash is like one of your top damaging abilities, and it grants a lot of threat. And its AOE is uncapped. Oh no, it's capped now, but it's beyond 5 targets is reduced, so it's still quite strong. Um, Stagger, if you don't know, when you get attacked, a portion of the damage that was dealt was put as a dot over time. So it just like reduces damage you take and puts this dot, and you can drink Bruce, like there's certain spells that reduce the stagger, so basically it's getting rid of that damage. Look at that. Just like I said, Purifying Brew to the left. Clears up 50% of the damage related to stagger. Is really nice.
All right, so that one's what we're gonna get.
To be noted, stagger also affects magical attacks, but at a 35% effectiveness.
Okay.
Because right now, that was a big problem for monks. I think for a while was, well, you fight some magic, and they didn't do very well. So yeah.
Now, what about shuffle? Is that something that anyone we would use? Or maybe you would wait if you have extra talents. Once we got everything we want, then that's what we throw it into.
I think you get it right away. To be honest.
All right.
I'm reading it. It looks pretty good. Now, one for sure you want is the middle, Healing Elixir.
Healing Elixir. Okay.
That's 2 charges of 15% maximum health heals on a 30-second. 30-second charge for 2 charges. That's pretty good. Any word on the healing so far?
I mean, I like that they're getting a bit more self-healing abilities. That's kind of my big thing as a tank is I want self-healing. Doesn't have to be amazing, but I want to have the ability to say, "Oh no, I'm in danger," and the healer is out of range or the healer is low on mana. I want to have something else that I can use to heal myself. I don't like being 100% dependent on a healer to heal me.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't call it self-control issues. I don't know, whatever. It's just that's how I am as a tank. I don't like relying on other people, even though that's the healer's job. Yeah, let's just go ahead and go through one by one from left to right. Just go through these abilities, and then we'll figure out which ones we think we should get.
All right, yeah, I'm going to keep bouncing back to you because you're a tank and you kind of understand stuff a little bit more than me. But I'll put in the input I know so far, but it's not that much for Brewmaster. But yeah, we'll start with the last. It's hit scheme. Basically means you Blackout Kick, increase the damage next case smash 10% for 4 times, so 40%.
Okay,
the damage is nice.
Yeah, I was say I feel like that's going to be really good for Mythic Plus.
Yeah, because Kick Smash is on 8-second cooldown. Yeah, 8-second cooldown. So you can get 4 Blackout Kicks in for sure.
Right.
Next is Gift of the Ox. When you take damage, there's a chance to summon a healing sphere visible only to you. Moving through this healing sphere heals you for 150% attack power. But it goes up stacks 3 times, so I'm guessing 300%. And that would go very well with Expel Harm.
Yep, I was gonna say if you're gonna run Expel Harm, I feel like as a tank that's a must-have to get.
Yeah. I definitely put 2 points in that. That's a lot of healing. Quick Sip. Purify 1% of your stagger damage each time you gain 3 seconds of shuffle dance. A shuffle is granted by attacking enemies with your Cake Smash, Blackout Kick, and Spinning Crane Kick. I don't know how good that is. 1% seems kind of low.
Well, so it's each time that you gain 3 seconds of that, and shuffle
is granted by attacking enemies with Cake Smash, Blackout Kick, Spinning Crane Kick. So you have it up all the time, realistically, I think.
Yeah, but again, like also right now we've already spent 8 points, so we can't get everything.
Where'd you put your 8 point at? Did you put it in
hit scheme? Yeah, is where I've got it so far.
Yeah.
And again, I kind of let me skim down here and see if there's. Yeah, I don't know which direction is going to be like more of a raid build and which direction is going to be more of a AOE build because I don't know the normal builds for this as very well.
Yeah, I mean, if you look over to the beside Quick Sip to the right, you can get Rushing J-Wind, a special delivery. Now, Rushing J-Wind's a 6-second cooldown, and it'll last for how long? For 6 seconds. You can have it up all the time. It's just that constant AOE damage, adding threat, and it's decent damage, not crazy.
Right. I feel like
It's
though
nice.
your main ability as a Brewmaster tank, I feel like Keg Smash is your big AOE ability,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
to the left is where we increase that damage to that Keg Smash. I feel like damage wise, that Keg Smash is going to be, or getting hit scheme is probably going to be better than getting Rushing Jade Wind. Now the
But
other
if you read
option is
special
that's
delivery, seems really nice.
yeah. Say that other option is drinking for your brews has a 100% chance to toss a keg into the air, dealing 65.2% of attack power to all enemies within 8 yards and reduces their movement speed. So it's a nice slow. Um,
It's uncapped AOE.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be great.
Yeah, I'm not
Again,
sure
it's
either.
yeah, it's where kind of again like my lack of knowledge on Brewmaster tanks.
Same. Yeah.
But so if you're just looking at Keg Smash, it does 85.9%. So we'll call it 86% of your attack power to up to 5 enemies with reduced damage beyond 5 targets. Special delivery does 65%. So that's 20% difference. Um, so I feel like most likely your keg smash is going to be better, 'cause especially if you can increase that damage by 40% with the blackout kick stuff, with that hit scheme. I think the left side you're going to put out a lot more damage with hit scheme than you're going to do with special delivery or rushing Jade Wind.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, so
Okay.
rushing Jade Wind is, see, I don't know if that's 9 times 10% of your attack power, so 90% over time, or how much that is. But yeah, I think Keg Smash combined with Hit Scheme is going to be the strongest for as far as damage goes.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to the next row.
All right.
We got Celestial Flames. Drinking from brews has a 30% chance to coat the monk with Celestial Flame for 6 seconds. While Celestial Flame is active, spinning Crank Kick applies Breath of Fire, and Breath of Fire reduces the damage affected enemies deal to you by an additional 5%.
Now, Breath of Fire is also an AoE ability, correct?
Yes.
So let's switch over here to, or go back into my monk and see, because I think that does pretty good damage.
Yeah, Breath of Flame or Breath of Fire is good. Yeah, just some good stuff. While you're locked in, I'll move to the next one. We got Celestial Brew. This is one of the defenses that are already in the game, so it'd be very. It's nothing new for tanking class. It's a 1 minute cooldown, and it gives you a shield. And on live, that shield is like 20k right now. Well, that's what it is. My monk, it's like 20k. So I'm not sure what it'll be like now. But um, in the talent trees, I'm seeing Purifying Stagger damage increases absorption by up to 200%. So every 1 minute you pop it, you're taking 200% more stagger, which is a lot less damage.
Right.
Over like yeah, it's a lot of damage reduction for sure.
Right, and then the staggering strikes here next to it that I'm looking at. This, if correct me if I'm wrong, the way this works is, so it says when you blackout kick, your stagger is reduced by attack power times 50 divided by 100. So basically, 50% of your attack power is what that realistically is. Um, so my question, well, attack power times 50 divided by 100. Yeah, probably right around there. So my question is, when it says that your stagger is reduced, does that mean like whatever damage you have on your stagger, it reduces that amount of damage that you're taking?
I would assume so.
That's
I
kind of what
think
I'm reading that as. So
a
I'm
lot of
looking at
these talents. Yeah, go on.
what I'm looking at is I feel like that's a really good one for tanking because you're going to use your blackout kick quite often, correct?
Yes, it's one of your filler spells while you
Especially,
wait for Cake Smash.
especially if you've got hit scheme, you're trying to stack that damage up to, to get your 40% increase. So I feel like that's one you're going to want to put stuff into. I also like Celestial Flames. Um, oh, there's Breath of Fire right there. Um,
Yeah, you're gonna definitely want Celestial Flames if it unlocks Breath of Fire.
yes. Yeah, so yeah, Staggering Strikes looks pretty good. If we go to the right side, you've got Graceful Exit, which after you successfully
So
dodge or
meh.
an enemy misses you, you gain 5% increased movement speed for 3 seconds. Probably good for PvP. Um, it's kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Zen Meditation. So that's one that I'm kind of looking at. I'm like kind of interested. Um, reduces all
It's
damage by
okay.
6. It's another defensive cooldown, but I don't know if it's
I'm
necessarily good.
I I mean we can go maybe get into it if we have leftover points.
Well, so
I
here's
wouldn't
here's my issue
charge.
with it. If you do anything other than move, it's gonna end the effect. So if including getting hit by a melee attack. So unless you're only facing casters, not
You can
really a
move
good
while you
ability.
channel it.
But what I'm saying though is you'd have to be kiting the entire time. But if
Right.
you're
Yeah.
kiting, what's the point of reducing damage? Because if you're kiting, you're not supposed to be taking any damage anyway.
Yeah.
So it kind of seems like a useless talent, honestly. But again, I don't
Yeah.
know. Somebody that's more used to it would probably have better knowledge on that.
Yeah.
And then Clash is the last one on this row.
Oh,
You
but there's if you look at Zen Meditation and the talent right below it, Zen Meditation has 25 reduced cooldown and will no longer cancel when you move
ah
or get hit by melee attacks.
okay, so that's better because that's going to drop it to about a 4 minute cooldown, just under a 4 minute cooldown. Um,
And just 60% for spells and melee now.
yeah, so that's
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 kind of
that's
big.
better. That's a lot better. Um, Yeah, so then Clash, look at Clash. You got you and the target charge each other, meeting halfway, then rooting all targets within 6 yards. And feels more like a PvP type thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something I'd take for Mythic Plus. All right, let's go back. Let's go down to the next row and just go through those again.
Which we're going with
Breath of Fire. Start with Breath of Fire.
Breath of Fire.
Yep.
Okay. Breath of Fire. So when you Cake Smash, it puts a dot on them. You can Breath of Fire them. Without the Cake Smash, I don't think you can Breath of Fire them, or it does, and you just less damage, I think. But you definitely want Breath of Fire. It's like a must. It's 50-second cooldown, and it's uncapped AoE. Um, Next is Celestial Brew. Purifying Brew increases the absorption of your next Celestial Brew by 20% based on Stagger Purified. Not just increasing the Celestial Brew the shield, which is already in the game right now. Like I said, for me, it's like a 20k shield, but I don't know if it's 200% or not. I'm not sure. But regardless, it's a good shield. It's a 1 minute cooldown too. Um,
Yeah. No.
so if you go back up to the third row, and you got Purifying Brew on the left.
Mm-hmm.
It's got one charge to the 20-second recharge.
Yep.
Now go back down. You got Purifying Brew now has two charges,
Yep. That
which is
looks
good.
that looks very good. I think that's one I'm
Yeah,
definitely putting the talent in. I think
yeah,
Celestial Brew is also something to really that probably would be good. The rank 2
yeah,
version. So I think on
yeah,
the left side there, all three of those on this row, I think I'm getting all three of those as a tank.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so on
Um,
the right side we've got Strength of Spirit. For a Brewmaster, you choose Strength of Spirit does expel harms. Healing is increased by up to 200% based off your missing health. That's kind of nice, um,
yeah.
but I think we
It's
have
called
I think we have a pretty good amount of healing, so I don't know if
yeah,
it's worth trying to take extra talents. If we have something left over, I think from the right side, that's probably something I'm targeting. The other option there is Purifying Brew instantly heals you for 25% of the purified staggered damage. So again, more healing, more self healing. That's good. Then we've got Fundamental Observation, Zen Meditation. We already talked about that. It has a 25% reduced cooldown and is no longer canceled when you move or when you are hit by melee attacks. If you're gonna get Zen Meditation, I think that's a must get because otherwise Zen Meditation is useless, in my opinion.
yeah,
um,
yeah,
and then
yeah. Oh, I agree totally. Yeah.
yeah, and then Shadow. So the last talent on this one is Shadowboxing Treads or Fluidity of Motion. So Shadowboxing Treads, Blackout Kick increases or damage is increased by 20% and strikes an additional two targets.
Well, that's pretty good.
That's not bad. And then the Fluidity of Motion, Blackout Kick's cooldown is reduced by 1 second and it's damaged by 10.
I
Now,
think
I
Shadowboxing is better at the two.
yes, I agree for Mythic Plus definitely.
I don't know if you run it, but it's
Um,
definitely
if
better.
it is Yeah, and honestly, well, reduced by 1 second is not bad. But yeah, I think I feel like for the most part, you're going to be sticking on the left side from what I'm seeing so far. That's we'll have to go through everything and see. So yeah, and like I said, we'll come back. Right now, I am at 15 talents, so we have 5 more we got to spend on this section of the tree. Anyway, well,
Oh, I'm at 13. What did you put your points into in that last row?
so I've got all 3 on the left side. I've got points in on that row. And
Yeah,
then the 5th row, the first one for this section, I've got points in all of those as well.
Staggering Strikes.
Yep, I've got staggering strikes because I think that's going to be
Okay, I'm at
a
15.
good
I'm
one.
at 15 now.
All right. Um,
Um,
so go
okay.
ahead and start off with the next one on the next row.
We got Scalding Brew. Cake Smash deals an additional 20% damage to targets affected by Breath of Fire. That's nice. Damage. Or, when you use Cake Smash, the remaining cooldown Breath of Fire is reset entirely. That's hard, because they both seem pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think Cake Smash Scalding Brew might be a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm thinking. So I'm leaning more towards scalding brew. So breath of fire is what, a 15-second cooldown, and it lasts for, if they're affected by
12 seconds.
12 seconds. Okay, so yes, I mean if you use Keg Smash has a 8-second recharge with what, 1 charge?
Yes, one of
We
the
haven't got.
last counts is increases it charges by 1.
Okay, so
But that's later on.
yeah, so I think the 20% increase on Keg Smash is going to be better. Well, I think so. That's hard to say because it's 20% additional damage. So it could do 100% damage extra total, probably. I think it's a really tough one to call, honestly. I'd have to see it in play because
Yeah.
being able to reduce the cooldown of Breath of Fire with Keg Smash could be strong as well. Because you're going to be able to Keg Smash at least once every 8 seconds, basically. Which means Breath of Fire becomes an 8-second cooldown.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it'll be something to look at. I think you can go either way on that one.
I'm not going to put any points into it right now. We'll come back to it.
All right.
Next, we got Fortifying Brew. Um, Kind of confused because it's on the class tree, and in this tree it's the exact same. Oh, it does
Where's
10%.
Fortifying Brew at?
On the class tree, it's right in the middle, right below 8
Right,
required.
right, right. I see.
So it's like, it says for Brewmaster, increase the effectiveness of Stagger by 10%. In the class tree, it increases Stagger effectiveness by 15%. So 5%, and it's not reducing the cooldown and doing anything other than the extra 5%. I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah. It's also, I mean, it's a if you've taken the other spec, it's still a 4-minute cooldown. So is it? I mean, is it really worth it? I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I would say I would skip over that one for now. I wouldn't take it yet,
Yeah,
unless you just have
yeah.
extra and want to.
Alright, next we have Black Ox Brew. Chug some Black Ox Brew, which instantly refills your energy, purifying brew charges, and resets the cooldown of Celestial Brew. That's a 2-minute cooldown, so you can Celestial Brew twice with that. That's nice. And it refills your energy for more attacks. The Purifying Brew, the one that gets rid of your stagger by 50%, it reduces the resets the cooldown on that as well. That's 2 minutes. That's pretty good. Or Bob and Weave stagger duration increased by 3 seconds, causing stagger damage to instead be applied over 13 seconds. So instead of 10 seconds, the dot, it's 13. So that's like what, like a 3% damage nerf?
That's a pretty good. Like I'm looking at going. I probably would go towards Bob and Weave. Um,
Right,
and of course, keep in mind, anytime I'm saying what I would go with, I'm looking at it from a Mythic Plus perspective. I'm not looking at
right.
Raid or
Yeah,
PvP. I'm just purely Mythic Plus, and I feel like that
yeah,
is better because you're going to have a ton of damage coming at you at Mythic Plus, especially early on. And to be able to spread that damage out would be really, really good. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna go with Bob and Weave there.
Me too. Alright, we got Invoke Newzow. I don't know how to pronounce that. The Black Ox. It's a 3-minute cooldown, and it summons this Black Ox for 25 seconds. Attacks your primary target and frequently stomps, damaging all nearby enemies. It also has for 16% of attack power plus 25% of stagger damage. You have recently purified. While active, 25% of damage delayed, but staggers instead staggered by. Oh, okay, so it's like the statue takes 25% of the damage.
So it um, looks like so one, depending on how much stagger damage you have recently purified, that's going to increase the damage that it does, but also 25. It's a 25% damage reduction almost. So
Yeah,
I think that's a really good one to have. I'm
yeah,
definitely gonna put a talent in that.
same. Now we got 3 left in the gray area of the tree. We did not put much points into.
Right.
We got light brewing. Reduces the cooldown of Purifying Brew and Slushy Brew by 20%. Or training of Nizao. Give to 15% mastery based on your current level of stagger. Um, I don't know. I don't.
If I was gonna do if we were in that tree and it was even an option to get that, I would definitely probably lean towards light brewing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
But yeah,
The
I just don't
training's
know
kind of meh.
the mastery. I mean, it feels like it's all based off your stagger, which means you might get nothing, you might get some. So I don't know if I necessarily feel like I would want that.
This is a weird one. Shocking blow. The next one. Kind of weird to see this. Um, Crackling Jade Lightning deals 40% less damage and has a cost of 40 energy, but is out instant and causes your next Blackout Kick against the target to shock them, dealing additional nature damage.
Hmm.
That's weird because it costs 40 energy for one Blackout Kick. That's like your whole energy pool right there. I don't see that being very good.
I could see it maybe in a raid format because it seems like it's a single target damage increaser.
Right.
Um,
Um,
but yeah, I agree. I don't know if that's necessarily
a
a great.
must.
It depends on how much it increases that damage.
Yeah, of
You know, if
course,
it
yeah.
makes your blackout kick do double damage, then it may be worth it. Because
It definitely.
blackout kick I'm sure does more damage than crackling jade lightning does.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So if it doubles or if it, it probably is a damage increase. Um, I would say it would have to do double. It would have to at least double the blackout kick because if if not, because blackout kick is what 40 energy you said.
Uh, I'm gonna check. I'll just check real quick. You can go ahead, keep
All right,
talking.
let me see. So yeah, blackout energy, blackout kick is just baseline already, correct? Yes,
Yeah, and
it is. Oh, it doesn't cost any
it's
energy according to
costs
this.
nothing. Yeah, I'm not seeing any energy cost either.
Okay, so yeah, it. Hmm. Grit
Yeah, I
shuffle for
thought
three
it did.
seconds.
My bad.
No, yeah, no. I
Uh,
mean, I feel like it definitely has its place, possibly for rating. Um,
it's not yet in the game because and the talent's not implemented yet. So I'm
right.
sure they're maybe tweaking it and
Yep.
figuring out how strong they want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just finish this row real quick. You got Facepalm. Tiger Palm has a 50% chance to deal 200% normal damage and reduce the remaining clone your bruise by 1 second. Um, I don't see that really being a Mythic Plus thing. Maybe raids.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I feel like based off what we've seen so far, the left side of this tree is more for Mythic
Like a
Plus,
Mythic.
and the right
Yeah.
side is AOE, and then the right side is more single target. Plus, it has a bit more self healing and um, your cooldown reductions to your brews. It feels like is what the right side has.
Yeah. Um, we have 3 points before we get into the next part of the tree.
Right.
I
So
would like to just put him into Zen Meditation.
well, now one of them we're going to put towards either Scalding Brew or Salabim Strength. Um, So I think for that one, I think for now, I'm gonna say putting it to Scalding Brew because we're gonna pick one of those for sure. I just don't know which one would
Yeah,
be better. But so yeah, I think for right now, we definitely put in Scalding. We're gonna put Scalding Brew for right now. So that leaves us with 2 talent points to spend. So what would you?
I would put it. I'd put it from special delivery into Zen meditation, and then get fundamental observation with any leftover points we have, possibly. Because I think
Gotcha,
having that 60% for like 8 seconds is huge.
gotcha. Um, Now here's something that I would look at. That quick sip. It doesn't sound like much, but purifying 1% of your staggered damage each time you gain 3 seconds of shuffle duration. So Blackout Kick gives you 3 seconds of shuffle. So
Yeah,
basically, what that quick sip is every time you use Blackout Kick, which also Keg Smash and Spinning Crane Kick is going to give you that as well. So 2% of that getting purified, or having that purified 2% each time you do that, I think is good, especially when you combine that with the Nuzao the Black Ox, which does more damage based off of the stagger damage that you have recently purified. So I think, because the Zen meditation, I'm not sold on Zen meditation as a tank, especially because, like I said, we've got so that Invoke Nuzao is kind of a defensive tank or defensive anyway. It's an offensive and a defensive.
yeah,
So I think we have some decent defensives. Fortifying Brew, 4-minute cooldown. Um, we've got the Black Ox statue, so that's good as well. I don't think that really does much defensively. It just helps you gain threat for the most part. It looks like.
yeah,
Um, we've got Dampen Harm. We've got Diffuse Magic. Both of those are really strong defensives. I like those. And I think the way that it really works is I think it's more important to increase your stagger to make your stagger stronger. I think that's
yeah,
kind of where I'm leaning towards, rather than getting Zen meditation, which Zen meditation is strong, but it's only once every 5 minutes, and I'm personally am
well,
looking
it'll be
more
about
towards.
3.5 or whatever, 3 3/4.
Oh yeah, because it's 25%. Yeah, no, I'm looking more at almost sustained damage reduction is more I'm looking at than just okay. Here's a big emergency one. Because I think we already have a good emergency one with Fortifying Brew. I feel like
Yeah,
that's a decent one. Yeah, I think for me, I'm going to go with Quick Sip on this.
yep, that's
Um,
fine.
I don't care about Graceful Exit. I think
Okay,
maybe because actually those 2 points got us to the next tree. So yeah, I think that's where I would go is 2 points into Quick Sip, and then now we're going to the next tree because I'm looking at Stagger, and I feel like the most important thing, and again, this is I could be completely wrong, but I feel like the most important thing is going to be making that Stagger as strong as it possibly can be for Mythic Plus. I feel like that's where it's going to be really, really strong at.
yeah, okay. Move on to the next row. We got starting off with Dragonfire Brew. After using Breath of Fire, you breathe fire 2 additional times, each showing 13% of attack bar fire damage. Breath of Fire damage is increased by up to 100% based on your level of stagger. Taking a lot of damage, fire breath is harder. It's nice.
Yep, yep.
But usually when your stagger is really high, you have Purifying Brew, like almost always. But still nice. Um,
Well, and you can
well,
always, you know, set it up so that you use Breath of Fire and then you use your Purifying Brew. That way you maximize your damage on that, but then you can still get rid of your stagger.
yeah, true, true.
All right, and then what's the second one there? The second
Guard
option?
Passions.
Yeah.
You breathe fire. Your breath of fire ignites your right leg in flame for 8 seconds, causing your next blackout kick and spinning crank kick to deal 100% additional damage as fire damage and refreshes the duration of your breath of fire on the target. That's a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
100%
So,
increased damage on a spinning crank kick is huge. Huge.
also Blizzard, why are we discriminated against left-legged people? Hmm?
Right. Right. I read that. I was like, am I reading that right? You gonna clarify which leg you kick with?
Listen, some people are left-footed, okay? Yeah, no, so I'd have
I
to
don't
look.
see.
I'd have
I
to
don't see
see
it
the
being
spinning
needed right
crane
now.
kick. I would definitely go with one of those two. Because again, so Mythic Plus, the two things you're looking at are how much damage can the tank pull it out. That's one of the biggest factors. That's literally the main reason why Vengeance Demon Hunters are in an okay spot right now is because of how much damage they can do.
Yeah.
Um, but the other part is how much damage can you take and how do you deal with that damage. I think Brewmasters are very strong already defensively with the stagger
Yeah.
ability. I think that helps them out a lot. Damage wise though, they got to be able to put out tons of damage for Mythic Plus. So I think
Yeah.
any kind of AOE damage, which is what this does, I think both one of those two you're going to want to get. I'm looking at it. I am kind of looking at. I'm kind of looking at Charred Passions.
Same. Same.
That's kind of where I'm leaning towards. It just
That
seems
100%
stronger.
increased damage on spinning crane kick is insane.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm looking at that thinking that kind of feels where I'm leaning. All right, so the next one is High Tolerance. Stagger is 2% more effective at delaying damage. We've got two talents you can put into there, so maybe that goes to 4%.
Yeah, it goes to
And
4.
ooh, I like that. Gain up to 5% haste based off current level of Stagger. Yeah,
It goes to 10% with 2 points.
yep. So 10%. Yep, I'm definitely putting two talents in that as a tank.
Right. Next, Walk with the Ox. Abilities that grant Shuffle, reduce to clone and invoke Nizao, the Black
Mm-hmm.
Ox, by 0.3 seconds, and Nizao Stomp deals an additional 10% damage.
I'm putting points in that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So then Blackout Kick deals an additional 5% damage. Critical hits grant an additional one stack of Elusive Brawler. What is Elusive Brawler? I don't know what that is.
Um,
Let me see if that's something that's already in the game.
yeah, I'll take a look as
Ow.
well.
Just elbowed my tablet. Alright, Elusive Brawler. Oh, that's your mastery. So
Oh,
each
some
time,
mastery, yeah.
yeah, each time you are hit by a melee attack or hit with Blackout Kick, you gain 21.5% increased dodge chance until your next successful job. It also increases your attack power by 21%, but I think that's just passive from mastery. I don't know if, yeah, I don't know if that's one I'm really interested in.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick points into it personally.
Yeah, I think maybe again, I think for rating, I think it does sound good because getting that dodge could mean you just avoid the hits. But yeah, I don't know if I'm doing that for Mythic Plus. Anvil and Stave. Each time you dodge or an enemy misses you, the remaining cooldown on your brews is reduced by half a second. It's
Meh.
okay, but yeah, I'm not super interested. Counter Strike. Each time you dodge or an enemy misses you, your next Tiger Palm or Spinning Crane Kick deals 100% increased damage. Um,
I mean, that's good, but to get to it is not good.
yes. Yeah. Um, yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right. You're dead on there. Like that. Again, each time you dodge or an enemy misses you, having Spinning Crane Kick deal 100% increased damage could be really good for Mythic Plus, but to get to it, I feel like you're sacrificing a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so
Um,
next row. Bone Dust
um,
Brew. I think we know
we
what.
have,
I
yeah,
think we
we
know
have
we're gonna
five,
take that.
we have 5 talents left, and I'm pretty sure I know where to put them all right away. Bone Dust, easy.
Mm-hmm.
You want it now. Next to the right before I won't go down quite yet, but next to it is Invoke Nizao the Black Ox. Purifying Sarah damage while Nizao is active. Increase the damage to Nizao to stomp with 25% of the damage purified, so between all enemies. I think. I mean that sounds decent. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we already have Nizal picked, so we're going to be using that. Making it stronger is just a no-brainer. I think. I
All
think
right, yeah.
definitely putting a talent in that.
And then next, Exploding Keg. I think that's a must as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because it hurls flaming keg at the target, dealing 258% attack powers fire damage to nearby enemies, causing your attacks against them to deal 20% of attack power additional fire damage, and causing their melee attacks to deal 100% reduced damage for the next 3 seconds.
Yep. Yep, I like that one.
And the last 2 points, I think it's a no-brainer. Storm Stout's last keg for additional
Mm-hmm.
keg smash charge
Yep.
and 30% increased damage. I think that's a must. And I think the last talent, you buff Bone Dust Brew. Why not?
Right. Um.
So you got Bountiful Brew. Your abilities have a low chance to cast one at your target, which is like the legendary right now, the Unity legendary.
All right.
Or Bone Dust Brew's shadow damage or healing is increased by 20%. And when Bone Dust Brew deals shadow damage or healing, its cooldown is reduced by 0.5 seconds.
And
I
it's
think
already
Bountiful Brew is better.
so well. So Bone Dust Brew is a 1 minute cooldown, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So Bountiful Brew, it says at approximately 1.5 procs per minute. So my question is, how does Bone Dust Brew work? It hurls a brew created from the bones of your enemies at the ground, coating all targets struck for 10 seconds. Abilities have a 50% chance to affect the target a second time at 40% effectiveness as shadow damage or healing. Now,
It's it's
that
really
that
strong live right now.
attenuation, um, it's increased. The damage is increased by 20%, and when it does it, the cooldown is reduced by half a second. So it sounds like you're gonna get a lot of procs from that. I feel like that's gonna reduce it from about a 1 minute cooldown to about a 40-second cooldown, probably. That's just kind of what I'm guessing. I would kind of lean more towards attenuation because it seems like with attenuation, you're gonna be able to get your Bone Dust Brew on every single pull.
Yeah.
That's where I'm leaning for from Mythic Plus. Having the ability to have it cast Bone Dust Brew at a target's location, it's okay, but I think the issue is from a Mythic Plus perspective, how often is that going to proc when you're killing the final enemy in a pack?
True.
Like
Yeah.
it's kind of a me thing. I don't like RNG chance to have an ability take place. I want control over when that ability is gonna be used. Um, so like I prefer anything that's going to reduce cooldowns rather
Plus,
than, and that's just a me thing. Again, it could turn out Bountiful Brew may actually be much stronger. I think for me, I'm gonna lean towards attenuation on that.
I think you're right because Bone Dust Brew has a 40% effectiveness. With Attenuation, it's a 20% increase, so it's 60% effectiveness for damage, and I think that's huge.
Yes, yes, and also like I said, if it has a 50% chance, um, I mean you're gonna that's each enemy probably has. I'm not sure exactly how the mechanics work on that, but uh 50% chance for it to hit a second time, and each time that it does is when you're going to get the cooldown reduction. If you have a
Yeah.
large pack, I mean, let's say you cast Bone Dust Brew, and then you use your Breath of Fire and Keg Smash. Those two abilities alone, let's say there's 10 targets in that pack, you're probably going to get at least 10 procs. So just from that, so right there, you just knocked the cooldown off Bone Dust Brew down to 5 seconds off of that just from those two abilities, and it lasts for 10 seconds. You're going to get 6 7 abilities off in that time. So I think attenuation, I would estimate you're going to knock that Bone Dust Brew down to a 40 to 45-second cooldown instead of a 1 minute
Yeah.
cooldown. And like I said, to me, what makes that strong is you can use it at the start of every single pull in Mythic Plus. Because
Yeah.
usually you're looking at about 40 seconds to 45 seconds for a single pack, especially on Fortified. On Tyrannical, not so much, but on Tyrannical, you're not really too worried about the trash packs. So I think
Yeah.
that's where to go. Now, just to finish off these rows, so on the right side, we've got Blackout Combo, which causes your Blackout Kick to empower your next Tiger Palm. It increases by
Sounds pretty
200%.
good.
Your Breath of Fire, periodic damage increased by 50%. Damage reduction increased by 5%. Keg Smash reduces the remaining cooldown on your brews by 2 additional seconds. Celestial Brew, gain up to 3 additional stacks. Purified Chi, and Purifying Brew causes stagger damage for 3 seconds. Pretty good.
That's pretty
Again,
good.
that all looks like more of a rating type deal. Um, so it's not bad. It's pretty good. But I don't think I think with the talent tree we've got right now, we've already picked our talents. I like that for Mythic Plus. All right, so then Weapons of Order is the other one in that row. For the next 30
The,
seconds, your mastery increased by 10 for Brewmaster. Um, I think that's what it's saying, right? It's hard to say.
was 10 plus 12.5% additionally as
Okay,
well.
yeah. And then Keg Smash cooldown is reset instantly, and enemies hit by Keg Smash take 8% increased damage from you for 10 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. I mean, that's pretty strong. I think is that the Kyrian Covenant ability, or is that
Yes, it
okay?
is.
That's what I was thinking. That's the Kyrian Covenant ability. All right. And then the very last one, Call to Arms. Let's see. Weapons of Order calls forth Brewmaster, or calls forth Snooze out of the Black Ox. You on the Jade Serpent to assist you for 12 seconds, or Effusive Anima Accelerator, activating your Kyrian class ability, release the blast, which that whole thing is fantastic as well. Um,
Yeah.
Honestly, those two abilities look really good for AOE. Uh, the rest of that, so again, I think those two abilities look really great for AOE. However, everything else in that talent tree, not so much on that side of
Yeah.
it. But
Okay.
all right, so that is the Brewmaster view.